悪霊退散。
Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Today we're going to be talking about Yujiro Hama again. This time we're going to be diving a little bit into controversy, a little bit into some tough subjects. So if you're squeamish, if you don't want to hear it, leave. But for those of you who are tough enough, we'll walk forward. Two things. One, we're going to talk about Tifa, and two, we're going to talk about some of the things that Yujiro Hama did in the comics. This is kind of upsetting some people in Tekken, and let's dive into it. First, what I'll do is read the tweets, and then I'll give my take. So the first one says, Tifa is an overrated guest character, low key. Someone else says, Yujiro Hama is a better pick for Tekken than Tifa has ever been. Another one says, so let me get this straight. They decided not to add Tifa, who has been requested for years. She's going for Street Fighter 6 of all games. So this dev's Final Season 3 is some random obscure character that only the hardcore anime nerds heard about. Now, these are the three tweets that I've selected and that I've seen on my timeline related to Tifa versus Yujiro. There's probably many more out there. But what I will say about this is very simple. I think that Tekken definitely dropped the ball not securing Tifa. Nakatsu told the story of how he thought Clive was just a really cool character and that's what he went after. Huge mistake, huge blunder. It seems like the Final Fantasy developers are very, very interested in having their character be in other places. All you have to do is ask. And Street Fighter asked, Tekken did not, and we lost out heavily. If Tekken 8 secured both Tifa and Yujiro, we would be on the top of the mountain. We would be king of the world. Another thing that I'll say about this is that it is kind of cool though that people are having this push and pull battle of who's better, Yujiro or Tifa. We almost got like severely gutted by Tifa going to Street Fighter 6 if the leaks are true. Once again, it's not confirmed. But the fact that there is this argument now of who's the better character and that we may have gotten a better character and our game is trending and the character is trending and it's really massive. Basically, Tekken doesn't take that much reputational damage because they saved themselves with sliding in safe with Baki. Now here's where we'll talk about two other things. This person here, Queen Maven, says Tekken 8 is the true sausage fest. More males, more meat, less women for you to look at. Now with the added bonus of Yujiro's unnecessarily detailed cheeks, he struts across the screen. And on that note, I do want to quickly interject and show all of the guest characters that Tekken has done in the past, and it's all male characters. And this was kind of a similar thing with Mortal Kombat where all they have done is male characters. So it really is interesting that Street Fighter is so far the only one of the big three who's done a female guest character, which once again highlights how it's such a drop ball that Tekken went with Clive over Tifa. But another part of this conversation is where it says, apparently people who want Yujiro don't mind having a what in Tekken 8. And it's anime, by the way. Keep him away from Lily. Now, people started clapping back, Dell in particular, who says, quick question, was you okay playing Tekken when there was a violent murderer child okay front and center, talking about Heihachi? Another tweet that had over 5 million views highlights, isn't this the person who threatened to what? You have Elon and Trump walking down the hallway. They are approached by Yujiro, who basically is talking smack to them. He doesn't want to hear it. He gets up in their face and he yells at them. This is what he says. Then also he's kind of like got them shaking in their boots and he's just going in on them, right? Now, of course, this kind of rubbed a lot of people the wrong way because this is a very tough situation for people to talk about, and rightfully so. It's not a joke. So seeing Tekken choose this character rubbed a lot of people the wrong way, but there is a good counter argument, is that the Mishimas are very villainous people themselves. I'll start in order from least to worst. Yoshimitsu started Jin Kazama started World War III, and he killed so many innocent people in the process. That's the type of trauma that follows him all the way through Tekken 8, where he's talking about how him and his father doesn't deserve to live. He has, like, I can't even say the word on Twitter, but he doesn't want to live anymore and he wants to like not exist. That's a very crazy thing that Jin is experiencing. And it all stems from two things. One, Heihachi. Heihachi is a vile, despicable character. He killed his own wife once she betrayed him, but then also he went after Kazuya for no reason and has been tormenting the guy for all these years. He's done the same thing to Jin Kazama when there was no reason to, and he's done the same thing to multiple other characters. But that's not even the worst part. Harada said on Twitter about Tekken 8 before he left, he said that Heihachi after killing Kazumi, went to her village and slaughtered everyone except for one baby. That one baby he helped kind of raise in a way, like he put her into some kind of orphanage care, but kind of kept a close eye on her. Once that baby grew up, he then had a baby with that baby. I think they have a word for that. And that baby of that baby is Reina Mishima. So Heihachi is still actively getting crazy in the game currently. And once again, the Mishimas are just as bad. To prove this, here's what Kazuya did. Nina was sent to kill Kazuya. Kazuya is a tough guy to stop. She was unsuccessful, and in failing to kill Kazuya, Kazuya retaliated and captured her and held her prisoner for 15 years inside of cryosleep. And he did experiments on her for 15 years. I looked at the Wikipedia for Nina and it didn't even say what Kazuya did because it is that foul. You have to look at the game itself and you will discover that Kazuya Mishima harvested Nina's eggs and he experimented with them, and that experimentation resulted in Steve Fox, the character that we all know and love. That is a creation of Kazuya's devious work. This is why Nina rejects Steve Fox, because she rejects what Kazuya's done to her. It's weird that both of those characters then join in Tekken 8 and work together, but that's a different subject. This is how evil and despicable the Mishimas are. So if you're taking issue with Yujiro Hanma, what have you been doing all of these years playing Tekken? So when I see tweets like these where it says a lot of people making parallels between Yujiro and Kenshiro as muscle anime men, guess we're going to ignore the parallel between these two. There's absolutely no way people are complaining about Yujiro Hanma. He is the only guest that works for Tekken at this point, so I will give them props where it's due. Another tweet says, why do people suddenly act like Yujiro being in Tekken 8 is a bad thing just because he does evil things? Another tweet says, I wonder why people are pressed about a demon of a human being becoming DLC in Tekken 8. It's fiction. Who cares about virtues in fiction? OMG, not the blank. We have teenagers blank blank as Tekken protagonists. His dad is blank. His granddad is Genghis Khan. Final tweet. Yeah, I don't like the new DLC character because he's a blank. In fighting games where the main characters are genocidal. So you can just see how this character is invoking a separate conversation surrounding the game. And obviously, I think that is kind of ridiculous. This character has existed for a very, very long time. He's a villain. He's evil. The creators of the character tries very hard to make that so. And then sometimes a character is so despicable, but they're still loved and they're still celebrated. That is what makes a good villain. And that is what makes Tekken characters good villains, is that they're so despicable, but they're good at that. And you root for them, but you also root for their demise. But this is the divide between players and how they're feeling about this character.